Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Monday Night Pod. My name is Jeremy Jacobowitz. I'm here with my tag team partner, Adam Welby.
Heyo!
And this is the podcast all about the Monday Night Wars, all about the battles between WWF Raw and WCW Nitro. Each and every single week, we go back in time, we re-review, and both shows went head-to-head to, at the end of the day, determine who really should have won the Monday Night Wars. Adam, why should people listen to what we have to say?
Well, if you've been listening, then obviously you're going to know this because we've been building up to it for a while. And if you're new, happy surprise here, we're in the holiday season in 1996 Raw versus Nitro. So if you're feeling a little bit like you're needing some holiday cheer right now, this is basically our Christmas in September episode at the moment. So we're going to get right into that. I know last week we kind of talked about how Christmas Raws generally kind of have a little bit of a dip in quality, but I think it's going to be fun to get in a little bit of the holiday spirit today, huh, Jared? Huh? Maybe?
Yeah. You know me. I'm all about holiday spirit. But yes, that is one reason. Another reason that we both used to work in WWE Tape at WWE in the WWE Tape Library. Our jobs are to watch all of wrestling. So we have a particular viewpoints on all this stuff that pretty much no one else has.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It was just us in those trailers. What we'll say.
Well, but here's the thing. I know I personally watched more than anyone else who was hired at that job, so I can say without a shadow of a doubt, both based off of performance and how many hours I was booked, that I did it more than anybody. So I numerate now.
Yeah. Well, I think I did more than other people too, because I would have to go back on some people's log sheets who were at the same computer station before my shift and fix a lot of stuff that they screwed up. But that's neither here nor there. Let the past be the past, except for when we live in the past on this show.
Sure. Shall we do it?
Not a lot of current stuff to talk about this week, right? Nothing you want to dive into too much? Matt Hardy's alive.
Yeah, he's alive. Yeah.
Miro debuted.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was the best way for him to debut, and I would have preferred to hold off on him because I think that who else is there to get a little pop? There's only one person that AEW could bring in to get a little pop now that Miro's in.
Who else? Are you talking about expats from WWE at this point?
Yeah, I mean, no one else is going to get a pop. Who else? I'm not talking about ex-Impact wrestlers.
I mean, look, Brock Lesnar can come in and he'll get a pop.
Or he doesn't even count. In terms of people that they could sign today, I mean, I guess they could technically sign him, but not really.
They could sign today. Who else would get a pop? I'm sure if I had a list in front of me, Kurt Angle, I guess.
He doesn't. I mean, whatever. Punk. I mean, that's it.
Oh yeah.
So now you've left yourself with only one person. Like, shouldn't you have saved him for when fans come back in like a couple months, and then you could have gotten that glorious pop for him?
I'll tell you what. He did get a good pop, but then also
I popped
because they had one of their best rated shows ever.
I don't attribute that to him. I attribute it to being coming off of a pay-per-view and being alone on Wednesday nights. But I mean, I'll watch for him. I popped. I like that he's there. I like to see what they're going to do with him. I just that was one they could have held in the gun a little bit,
Maybe. But I had the biggest, dumbest grin on my face when it happened because, a couple years ago in WWE, my four guys were Cesaro, Samoa Joe, Luke Harper, and Rusev. Those were the four guys who I loved in that company at the time. And now, two of them who were incredibly underutilized are in All Elite Wrestling, doing great as far. Well, we'll see what Miro does, but obviously Brody Lee and the Dark Order is killing it. And then, other people's things have gone elsewhere. Cesaro's in another tag team. Which is fine, I guess.
Still has gold around him, though.
Sure does. He sure does. And Samoa Joe is in commentary.
Killing it, though. Killing it.
Yeah. Doing great.
It's on TV every week, Adam. What else do you want?
I wanted him to be WWE champion, but that is neither here nor there right now, but you know what is here? 1996, specifically December 23rd of 1996.
Yes, Adam, let's do it. Let's go to Ice Palace in Tampa, Florida for Raw. This is Raw 190. We are taped once again from there. Not live, no show open this week. Here we effing go. Intercontinental Championship match to start. Mark Miro Sable versus our Intercontinental Champion, Hunter Hearst Helmsley. This match goes 6 minutes and 30 seconds. The rules are stipulated that if Hunter gets DQ'd or counted out, he loses the championship. Obviously, that's a go-to for him, so he cannot do that this week. As the match starts, Goldust and Marlena come through the stands. Again, they do the thing that I kind of like them doing around this time period, is that they don't actually sit in the front row. They sit in just like some random seats in the stands. So random, in fact, that you see a WWF producer screaming at fans to get out of their seats so Goldust and Marlena can sit down. So they will watch from there. Anyway, early on, Miro chases King away from ringside and out of the announcer's booth, and we won't see him for the rest of the night, which is funny because Vince tries to put over so hard how like focused Mark Miro is, and the first thing he does is go after King and chase away. So maybe not so much. And you know what? I don't think it was either, because Mark Miro misses a moonsault and Hunter is able to then hit a pedigree and pin him for the win.
A hell of a pedigree, too. It was a real loud, like, yeah, they're protecting that finish so good right now. This is a decent little back and forth match. I can get down with Miro chasing King away because they did talk about how King had some fuckery with Sable last week during their Karate Fighters Holiday Tournament finals.
Of course.
Yeah, right. As where all the drama goes down. But yeah, man, this is an all right way to open the show, I thought. Nice little match.
I mean, Hunter hit a pedigree, so what else do you want?
Yeah, right.
Hunter gets on the mic after the match and talks to Goldust about facing him at the Royal Rumble now, because Goldust was to face the winner of the match. He's going to show him what a real man is. That gets Goldust out of the seat. He runs down as Hunter escapes back to the locker room.
Yeah, this is a very different side of Goldust, face Goldust, that we've seen in the last couple of weeks. Ever since
he's a man.
Ever since his great no, he's not queer.
Nope.
Well, that's you know what, Hunter and Triple H make Hunter and Triple H. Hunter and Goldust make good adversaries, though. So I'm into this program enough.
Yeah. Next up, we see footage of Bart killing Billy Gunn from last week's main event. Bart was on Live Wire this past weekend, just says he feels horrible and blah, 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 blah. Next up, we see Sunny come out in a little red dress, white boots, and a Santa cap. She's going to join commentary. This is really our only sort of mention of Christmas in the whole show, which is odd for a Raw Christmas show.
Yeah, I might have oversold it a little bit at the top of our show. But yeah, Sunny coming out as Mrs. Santa. We're not going to get like a good old Stone Cold, stunning Santa kind of piece here. But right. It's Sunny's
like set decoration they like to do. Just sort of ignore the whole thing, which is, I mean, it's fine with me. It's just sort of funny for them. Anyway, she's out here because Rocky Maivia is out to face Salvatore Sincere with Jim Cornette? ? No idea why Jim Cornette is out with Salvatore Sincere, other than the fact that they said that Jim had been trying to sign Rocky, but then why would he be in the corner of his opponent? And anyway, no idea why he's there. He pretty much disappears from the match anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Match goes 5 minutes, 45 seconds. Vince talks about the premiere of Shotgun Saturday night coming up January 4th of the new year. We get a lot of split screen just so we could stare at Sunny. She's out there, obviously, like she wants to sign The Rock. What does she have in mind for The Rock or Rocky? I don't know. Vince makes a lot of, poking the bear a little bit, but especially JR. What does JR says something, or Sunny says something, and then Vince blames JR for like having his mind in a gutter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because she's talking about how she's corrupted many young men in her
right.
like that. Vince is having a good time with Sunny out there though. Like you can tell, like the back and forth, he's having a lot of fun with it.
Yes, he absolutely does. Salvatore Sincere, for some reason, actually gets a lot of offense in here. But finally, Rocky battles back, gets a shoulder breaker for the win.
Yeah. They're putting over Rocky, man. They're doing a good job.
And the fans are into it. They're chanting.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, which is, it's interesting also because getting on to, as we've discussed many times before, those who control who win control the narrative of the past and whatnot. And we've heard like so many times like that The Rock debuted and it just wasn't working, and people were chanting "Die Rocky Die" from the very start. It's like not really. Like the blue chipper thing is actually kind of working right now.
Yeah, I mean, it will die a little bit, but it's interesting about that. The same way they did about Austin, the same way they do about Hunter, is they pull B-roll that doesn't equate to the same timeline. So I am very positive. There is a famous shot where they show like all those guys holding the sign. This is Die Rocky Die.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm almost positive that was when Rock came back as a heel as part of the Nation Domination. So I do think he starts getting weird. We're going to find out, I guess, when the chants start, but I'm almost positive that shot exactly. So once again, yes, them manipulating their own history to tell their own story.
Do you think it's because this time in like 1996, 1997, as we're going to get into, do you think it's because they were getting their asses handed to them by Nitro that they just like want to be like, yeah, that time never even happened, you know?
I just think they just always like what they're telling is sort of the truth. They just like want to, make it bigger than it was, I guess, which is what most people do. But
of course.
All right, next up, Vince is in the ring and he brings out the WWF champion, Sycho Sid. We see Shawn watching from the back as Sid has the longest entrance in history of time. Like,
oh my God.
Minutes long to get to the ring. I don't really know what's happening.
JR does a good job of covering for it, but this is like an Undertaker WrestleMania kind of Sid coming out. And like, man, Sid looks great with that belt and that music's cool behind him and everything like that, but like, holy shit.
Yes, anyway, Sid Quiet yells, shocking. He says that he beat the best two technical wrestlers in the world in the past 30 days, Shawn and Bret. Shawn is looking on just as bored as I am throughout this. But Sid says, it doesn't change though. He's 6'9" and 300 pounds, which I didn't even realize. He's like, I'm that way today, I'm that way tomorrow, and I'll be that way at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. There was also an interesting part. Let's see, I didn't think Sid's promo was so bad. I thought it's actually, in way of Sid promos, this was kind of one of his better ones. But there's also a very curious part early on when Vince first has him in the ring, and he says he wants to talk to him about just sort of like all the other contenders around here with attitude. He goes, Shawn Michaels has attitude. Bret Hart has attitude. Stone Cold Steve Austin has an attitude. Mm-hmm. They might have even listed like Hunter, Hearst, Helmsley, or Goldust.
I said Taker.
Taker, right? Yeah. He's citing everybody with an attitude.
It's to come. Seeds are being planted.
It's like I side tangent really quick. I always get annoyed with the designation of the ruthless aggression era because there was one promo where ruthless aggression was ever mentioned.
Two promos.
Yeah. But there's one that's cited, right?
No, it's two promos. So Vince went on Raw and said he wants ruthless aggression.
Right.
It debuts and slaps him, and then it goes, I am ruthless aggression. So
right. One week.
1 week.
1 week. 1 week. Two promos that are supposed to define, like, I don't know, when the Attitude Era is over until Pipe Bomb Era, maybe? Like
maybe HD error. I know they don't really call anything different. To me, ruthless aggression is 02 to 06 when Cena started getting booed.
But then what's like 06 to 2011?
What's 06 till 2019? I have no idea. I mean, I guess it's like 06 until Shield. So 2015 or something?
No, because you have
2013.
You have like all the Summer of Punk and stuff like that. I think like the when things started to change around.
Summer and Punk was also 2 weeks.
Well, that's 2011. Yeah, but like that time when like Daniel Bryan was World Heavyweight Champion and like CM Punk was WWE Champion, like that shit ain't ruthless.
Can you name me one main events that during that reign?
What? Oh,
you can name me one match that either one of them had, not at a WrestleMania or SummerSlam.
Oh, well, they had the match against each other. Something like that.
I don't think that was even during that time.
John Cena versus John Laurinaitis was hot.
That's
Headlining
that's exactly my point. So it's hard to define the era by that when like they didn't even look at it that way during that time.
Maybe it should be like the like refusal to move forward era or something.
I mean, really, it's the PG era because to me, we're out of that already. Like that sort of defined when they went to PG and decided to pull back on everything, even when they could have gone much further. And now they've sort of found a better balance with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. But anyway, I just don't like Ruthless Aggression era as a name for like all that time where it's like, like it wasn't at the top of the show. Like the Attitude Era opened up with
Attitude.
Word attitude. Yeah.
True.
Whatever. Tangent done.
Next up, it is, oh, Jesus. Piero and Cybernetico versus the New Rockers. This match goes 5 minutes. Mil Mascas is on Spanish commentary as well. It's funny, I forget which one it was, but one of them actually did like the Hunter spit take on his way down, which I thought was cool. Hunter's like, anyway, this is all part of the AAA talent exchange that's going on. Pretty much they did this so they could try and sell out the Alamo Dome for Royal Rumble. They saw that they had 70,000 seats to fill and realized they could not do that without Latin stars, and they didn't really have any Latin stars. So they brought in all the AAA dudes. So they're building all these guys up for Royal Rumble. All three of them, including Mil Mascaras, are going to be in the Royal Rumble. This is a way to showcase them here. JR claims that both teams are heels, and that's why nobody in the arena cares.
I was laughing because like Vince brings it up at some point. Like the crowd is so dead that Vince has to acknowledge it.
They talk about the idea. So Vince is like, "Oh, these guys are high flying." JR is like, "You know, I'm all luchadors fan." Anyway, Cybernetico hits a flying splash on Leaf Cassidy, pins him for the win.
Yeah, thrilling. It is a little, just like we're kind of hitting at, a little messy. I appreciate where they're coming from, trying to bring these stars in, but like, God, there's nothing worse in wrestling. I shouldn't say nothing, but it's one of the worst things to see, like, panic booking that like happens fast.
That's every week on Raw.
Right, exactly. Yeah, panic booking. It's like
that's the era we're in now. The era we're in now is panic booking Raw.
That's right. I have a sour memory for. I mean, I guess a lot of people do. There's not really an excuse for it, but so much I look at Jinder Mahal's title reign as panic booking about like. We've talked about it about like filling that arena they were going to do in India, so like we never got a Shinsuke Nakamura title reign because Jinder Mahal had to beat the champion through all that time. Like that was like that to me just like screamed panic booking too. It's just like I'm excited to see how many examples of panic booking we have throughout all this. I'm sure our last year of Nitro is going to be nothing but panic booking. Sure. It's going to be quite.
Anyway, after match, JR interviews Mil Mascaras about going in Royal Rumble. Vince decides just to shit all over the whole thing. He goes, another award-winning interview from JR. It's like, okay, Vince, cool, great. I guess JR is a heel still. I don't know. That seemed just like Vince being Vince.
Yeah.
Anyway, they run down just a few of the Royal entrants, and then here comes Hockey Talk Man. So you're promised that he has a big announcement coming up tonight, and we're going to see what it is. He joins commentary for the following match. They are trying to, Vince and JR are guessing maybe he's entering the Royal Rumble. We shall see. But it's main event time. Fakery Razor Ramon versus Bret Hart. This match goes 7 minutes and 15 seconds. We come back from commercial. Razor is in the ring doing his pyro, so he does not get a full entrance. Honky Tonk Man makes his big announcement. He says that he is looking for someone who could be the greatest of all time, just like him. Someone that could sing, play guitar, and shake, rattle, and roll, baby. This match is just nothing, and Bret just decides to just, you know what? I'm just going to put on the sharpshooter. Like, he's doing build to it. He's just like, I'm over this match. Here's the sharpshooter. And after 7 minutes and 15 seconds, the match is over.
It's a deep sharpshooter too. He sinks that one in.
Yeah, he's like, I feel it. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this match? Event?
No, Joey Razor has now lost, and we can move on.
Great, maybe you can boot him out the door. Anyway, Vince is able to have one of his favorite magic interviews with Shawn Michaels in the back. How could Shawn hear him? Never explained. Anyway, Shawn is being a total dick and only giving one-word answers, which is fabulous. He's just like, yeah, yeah. Anyway, he says that he is prepared for anything come San Antonio.
Yeah. I'm excited enough for the Royal Rumble with the build that they've had around it. But, you know, what's funny is, like, coming off of this Raw, I was like, all right, I liked that a little bit more than I thought I would. And then, like, going through it now, I'm like, I didn't really like that.
This was a nothing. I mean, listen, we talked about this. Like, the reason why Raw Christmases suck is it's usually a very down night in terms of ratings, so they don't even care. I mean, this is a lesson they learned over the years, and they just make it obvious. Like, I remember there was a Raw, maybe this is 7 years ago or something. Basically, they taped the Christmas Raw the week before the live Raw. On the live Raw, Alberto Del Rio turned face. But on the Christmas Raw that aired the week after, he was still a heel because they taped it prior to that. Literally, he turns face one week. The next week, that was when he ran over Santa Claus with his car. They didn't even give enough shit to, like, fix it. They're just like, no one's going to watch this week. Like, who cares? We know we just turned one of our biggest superstars' face, but, like, he's still going to be healed this week, and we're never going to explain it. What's the difference?
Man, there's a guy who was given the keys to the kingdom and could not just not be a piece of
shit. Nope.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, you know, maybe I just felt good about this because I was kind of watching it while I was making breakfast, and I had learned about cooking scrambled eggs on really low heat this week, and it's totally changed my life. So maybe that's why I was in kind of a good mood.
There is two schools of thoughts in that, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I know all that I know is I'm finally making decent scrambled eggs for the first time in my life. So maybe that's why I was so excited about this Raw afterward.
I would say that because there's nothing on this episode to be excited about. But shall we go to Nitro?
I am down with that, but another time I want to really get into these two schools of thoughts on scrambled eggs that you have. Because if there's one person to speak to it, I believe it would be you.
I will quickly say that if the way that they make Japanese scrambled eggs is it's high heat and they spin it super, super fast with chopsticks, and is actually fluffier and more amazing, but it's technically harder to get done. So I would recommend most people do soft, do low. But if you have these skills, you can go high.
Gotcha.
Anyway, yes. Nitro, this Nitro episode 67, and they are live from Macon Civic Center in Macon, Georgia. Crow's Nest tonight, once again, for Tony Larry to open the show. We open with the U.S. title tournament. Again, they've never really shown us brackets, but we have some understanding of what's happening here. It's Crispin versus Eddie Guerrero. Match goes 10 minutes and 30 seconds. No woman out with Crispin tonight. Interesting. As they make their way out, the music is all off. Like, Benoit is halfway down the ring with the ramp before his music starts, and then they just cut to Eddie, who's still coming out to Benoit's music, and then eventually to play his music. Something's up there. We get a pre-recorded message from Kevin Sullivan. He says that Benoit fell into his trap. You have awoken something that shouldn't have been left alone. Checkmate. Anyway, DDP also makes his way out to do commentary for this match. Eddie and Benoit just beat the shit out of each other.
Oh, I was just going to note when DDP comes out to join commentary and he's sitting at the commentary desk, we do have Christmas decorations around the commentary desk. We do have some little lights. We have some garlands. It's at least a smidge of effort has been put into it.
A little bit. Anyway, the match ends. They're both on the top rope. They're going up the top rope. Eddie throws Benoit down and then is able to, like, reverse him, jumps off and reverses himself in midair to hit a frog splash, which is a way I've never seen him or anybody else hit a frog splash. And it was very, very impressive. And he pins Benoit for the win.
Guerrero, man, just pulling out that Guerrero stuff. I was listening to a very old Talk is Jericho this last week. It's called like Remembering Eddie Guerrero or something like that, and I think they did it a couple years back. It was at some convention because they shot it live or whatever, and it was Jericho hosting it, and then it had Rey, Mysterio, Conan, and DDP on a panel talking about Eddie or whatever. And they were talking about just like these crazy things that Eddie was able to do athletically. For example, like this one where you're talking about being able to just like turn in midair. And DDP was specifically talking about this one time that he took Eddie from a power bomb position and managed to diamond cutter him from there. If you Google like best diamond cutter ever, and you'll find a really shitty looking version of it on YouTube, but it really is amazing how Guerrero was able to turn his body in midair like that. I'm fine telling you to go out and Google that and YouTube that one, because that did not take place on a Nitro, so it is not going to be something that we are going to be covering here on Monday Night Pod.
All right. Next up, Mean Gene interviews the 4 Horsemen on the entranceway. Benoit does my favorite thing, which is go to the back, just walk right back out to the stage. But along with him is Flair, Arn, Mongo, and Deborah. Arn says that a man's worst nightmare is to come home and see you're one of another man. But you know what's a worse nightmare than that? Being that man that knows he's about to get his ass whooped. And that's exactly what he saw in Sullivan last week when he saw the rage in Sullivan's eyes. But tonight, where is woman? Where is she?
Well, maybe Benoit will have answers.
Yes, but first, Deborah is sick and tired of women. She has more girlfriends for Benoit to slam next time. So next time Benoit wants to get his dick wet, just talk to her. Although she's hotter than them. She made clear that she is hotter than them. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, because she won the pageant. So
anyway, Benoit says that woman is doing horseman business, which is always what he says, which is so weird. He says they weren't on vacation. They were taking meetings in Germany and trying to reunite the horsemen. I guess, again, no idea what he's talking about. Mongo tries to get in his face. Benoit tells him to talk to the hands, which is the very 90s, I guess.
Yeah, because it got a pop.
It did. It was like new. It was new in 1996. People were like, oh shit. Mongo is pissed. He says, that's my woman. Don't talk to her like that. Flair steps in the middle of them. He says that woman deserved a weekend of Benoit after being married to the devil.
Yeah. This was pretty standard Horseman chaos, but like I liked it. Even like Mongo didn't stink up the joint, like he kind of over the top Mongo through it, so like it works. You know, Mongo works when he's not trying to be cool. You know what I mean? Like when he's just being the goofball that he is, like it works. But I like this. You know, it's keeping me interested in the Horsemen and keeping everybody invested in them. I mean, I wrote the first note I made on this was, "God damn, these guys are over," because. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because like their music hits and that crowd pops, and Mean Gene like introduces every one of them as they walk out, and like people are like, "Fuck yeah, the Horsemen!" You know?
Absolutely. Next up, NWO time. Here comes Hogan, Ted, Vincent, and Liz. It says that Piper is in hiding and afraid of him. He's just like rambling on and on and on and on. He says that Hogan is the one that made you believe in wrestling. So get up. So Hogan's going to entertain you. Entertain him, Hulk. And then he poses. This is the same thing he's been saying every single week. I thought this was a bore.
Yeah, it's a copy and paste. But, you know, I was thinking about this watching the episode, and we'll talk more about Hogan later, a little bit of a tease there. I think of all my Hogan, like of all the Hogan looks I can think of, like, Hogan in this physical shape, in this attire, is peak Hogan to me. I think. Like I know you got
to go 80s Hogan.
No, I know 80s Hogan had like more success in the red and yellow and stuff like that, and was like a bigger, probably. It's tough to say if he was a bigger star in that moment, but like nationally or whatever. But like. I just think Hogan, in the shape he's in, wearing the outfit that he's in, just looks so freaking cool. Like this is my favorite. This is my favorite version of Hogan.
Okay, fair. That's fair. Next up, it's Tombstone versus Lex Luger. This match goes 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Tombstone, aka 911 from ECW. Let's see here. Lex soaks in the cheers to start. They have a little bit of a back and forth match, as much as you can have in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, but eventually Lex calls for it and then racks 911 for the win. Right after, though, Giant runs in and goes face to face with Luger, getting his face. Luger's going to fight back and gets the Giant in the rack. As soon as he gets him in the rack, though, the Outsiders run in and save Giants.
Well, he picks him up for the rack, but he's not quite able to block it. He picks him up and like is cinching him, and then like in that moment that he's cinching him, the Outsiders are in the ring, and he bails. But like this, like so, the match is whatever. The match is kind of it's like you said, as back and forth as you can have in 3.5 minutes. Like they're going pretty quick. They're doing the Luger versus Giants kind of thing, but like. Man, when Giant comes out there and Luger is like hitting him and he's wobbly on his feet and then he's going off the ropes, hitting him again, and Giant is almost going down, like that crowd is losing their shit. Like this is exciting stuff. It's good. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah, and they are facing each other at Starrcade.
That's
Again, this is the go home show for Starrcade. If we forgot to make that clearer. Anyway, they talk about the Sting stuff from last week a little bit, and then it's Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Mr. JL. This match goes 6 minutes. Ray did Ray things, and then ends a little bit out of nowhere when Ray just hits a Super Rana for the win.
Yeah, these two are going 1,000,000 miles per hour from the very start of this match. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's fun. Again, Ray doing Ray things 20 years ago is fantastic.
Yeah.
After match, Ray comes over to commentary and grabs a mic. He says that everyone says that Sting is an NWO. He says it's a rumor started by the NWO. He says that last week when he jumped on Sting's back, Sting's reaction was normal if someone jumped on his back. But as soon as Sting realized that it was Ray, he placed him down. And that says to Ray that he is not part of the NWO. He says when Nash picks him up and threw him, when Giant picks him up and threw him, he knew what they were trying to do, and that's not what Sting was trying to do. So he says, replay the video, replay the footage from last week. Show them, guys. Show them what happened.
Tony, will you please play the video?
Yes. And Tony and Larry are like, okay, let's play the video. Go to the video. They do not show that footage. They just show like a very 90s edited video package of Sting in the rafters.
Like, just the like, I don't think it's Sting's music. I mean,
it's just like
there's
Turner Music Library song 54.
Right, exactly. It's just like black and white clips of Sting through, like turned into the Crow doing things. I don't think they even showed in that video package. I don't even think they showed the last week. No,
they did not.
Loppy stuff.
Oh well, but Ray is now the only one who agrees that Sting is not in the NWO. So.
They're also giving him some mic time. You know, they're seeing a little bit they're seeing that this kid's a star.
Yep. Hour 2 begins. Tony, Today, and Bobby are here. They say that the NWO has told them that Piper is here, even though they keep claiming that Piper is not here. We shall see what happens. But first up, it's Glacier versus Sgt Lee Parker. This match goes 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Lots of kicking, and then, good God, this is a botchamania for the all time. Glacier completely whiffs on his finisher. Buddy Lee Parker takes the bump, goes for the pin. At that moment, Parker's like, oh, fuck, he didn't really hit me. Kicks out, tells him to fucking hit him in the face again, kicks him in the face again, and pins him for the win.
Delightful, man. This Glacier gimmick is going so well.
Here's the problem. They put him with Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker because Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker was the head trainer at the power plant, where I assume Glacier was training. Right. So my guess is they were like...
Wasn't he also like a leprechaun a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, he plays the leprechaun too. He fills a lot of roles. Yeah. So they were probably like, shit, Glacier's been having terrible matches. Let's put him out there with this trainer, and this is the best opportunity we're going to have to showcase what Glacier can do. Someone with these has to be really comfortable with. He's training with them every single day. This is going to work. And he misses the kick by 3 feet or something. I mean, like, it was just awful.
Not great. Not great. But at least they didn't like bring a ton of attention to it.
Sure. Anyway, next up, it's Amazing French Canadians with Colonel Robert Parker versus Public Enemies. Match goes 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Amazing French Canadians attempt to sing the Canadian national anthem again. They fail miserably. Public Enemy stops them anyway. They jump them as they're trying to sing. They do Public Enemy things. They're brawling all over the place. Eventually, a table ends up in the ring. Public Enemy picks up the broken table, and they ram it into the Amazing French Canadians for the DQ.
Hold on, you're underselling this a little bit because they do like they take the table and they set it up on like the corner,
the ropes, the corner of the ropes.
They lay it like on top of the ropes, and then like one of them stands on it, and it somehow gets cracked. Like, there's so much going on with the table in this.
Yeah, I don't know if it was supposed to happen or not. It ends up being broken, but at the end of the day, they just picks it up and slammed it into their head. And then after the match, Public Enemy hits the Quebecer crash of their own. Yeah,
but like on the table, which Oulet is laying on, but the table's legs are not.
Yeah, it's not up; it's just there.
Yeah, it's just like the table's on the ground, and he's on the table on the ground. Like, yeah. Speaking of botchamania, man, like hour 2, whoo boy.
Great. I mean, for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it's fine. It's just like to call it a match. It's hard to call it a match.
Yeah.
Next up, we see clips of Big Bubba joining the NWO, and it's Big Bubba versus Conan with Jimmy Hart. This match goes 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Nick Patrick is back being the ref, and guess what? He's still a dick.
He's like really aggressive, like both of his ears pierced, like really aggressive.
Yeah.
Shown now, like he definitely, and he's got a goatee with it. Like he definitely looks like a carny trash.
He is full heel. He ends up throwing Jimmy Hart away from ringside. Anyway, this match is just the fucking worst. Conan throws Bubba off the top rope and over the top rope and is DQ'd, mercifully ending this one.
Mercifully, I mean, they were going at each other pretty hard. I thought, like making it at least a good look, like this is personal. But like, yeah, you're right. Sweet merciful Poseidon put this match to bed.
Terrible. Conan tries to get his hands on Nick Patrick after the match, but Bubba saves him.
Mm-hmm. Well, our first proper NWO guy wrestling tonight, I guess. Cool. And like I was thinking about it, like even since NWO premiered, we've had a very scant few proper NWO matches on Nitro, if you think about it,
because most of them don't work.
Right. Well, we've had it's true. Well, we've had the Outsiders wrestle
a few times.
Yeah, like twice.
Right.
I can think of. I think we saw Syxx wrestle once.
Syxx had one match and he looked terrible.
Yeah.
Giant might have been the one that's wrestled the most, and he hasn't wrestled in weeks.
Who?
Giant.
Oh, Giant. Yeah. He hasn't really been having matches either, though. Like, I mean, you're saying in weeks, but like, I'm trying to think back. Like, when was the last Giant match we saw since he joined the NWO?
I have no idea.
Ugh, boy. Well, these next people, though, we have seen wrestle many times.
Yes. Next up, Adam, WCW Television Championship is on the line. Cruiserweight champion Dean Malenko going against Lord Steven Regal, our television champion. This match goes 10 minutes because it goes to the time limit draw. But anyway, Sonny Ono is out there taking photos again before the referee kicks him out of ringside. Good on him. Lots of mat wrestling. Dean hits a brainbuster and goes for the pin, but the bell rings just before he could get the win.
Now, he is like covering him, and they give one count before the bell goes. Now, here's the issue. The crowd does not know what the fuck just happened.
The announcers don't know what the fuck just happened.
Totally dead. Yeah, the announcers clarify that it was time limit, but only after a minute.
And they're like, we're guessing on that.
And the ring announcer never says, via
what the finish was.
Yeah, never via time or 10 minutes has passed. time has expired. Like
Right.
they just say, still your WCW television champion, Lord Steven Regal. And like the crowd is dead. No one knows what the
It's
hell
like
is happening. This is as messy as I've seen Nitro ever.
it's the thing that they always do. It's like they fuck up on the details constantly. Those little things, you're just like, nobody thought about it. Now everyone's like, well, that's the end of the match. All right, what happens? Oh, nothing happens. It's not a match. What are we talking about?
The time
Move on.
went up. Like, well, that's what happened. Well,
Right.
you have to tell people that the time limit went up. Like you said, like,
Or at the beginning of the match, remind people. I mean, maybe that's a red herring for the end of it. Maybe say, and remember, all television championship matches have a 10-minute time. It's like they just made up the rule this week. I'm sure we're going to see a 13-minute television championship match next week. Because, same way with the over-the-top rope DQ. Whenever they feel like enforcing it, they do.
Right. I mean, obviously, this is 24, 23 years ago that all this was happening. But they do a much better job of, I think, telegraphing some of that stuff today. Like, you'll notice in AEW title matches, every single one of them at the top of them, Justin Roberts says this match is a 60-minute time limit, or like if it's TNT title last week, or TV time remaining. Like they're very clear about that. And I don't think they've gone to a count out or a time limit draw yet. Have they?
I don't believe so.
Okay. But like I like that at least like it's clearly defined like at the beginning of every match, and like that's just what they need to be better at. It's just clearly defining that stuff.
I agree. Next up, Rick Steiner with Scott Steiner versus Jeff Jarrett. This match goes 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Fans are going nuts. They're saying, "We want Sting. We want Sting." And then they go up in a roar when Sting comes out, but then realize that it's fake Sting and they start booing. Rick clotheslines fake Sting, and then Jeff Jarrett pins him for the win because the ref made it 3 counts.
And the bell rings.
This, I mean, if anything, I guess encapsulates WCW more than anything. It is this right here.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
what is
going on? Yeah. Like, what is, like, how are things getting so off the rails? Like, we had a really strong first hour. Like, a really strong first hour.
Well, we'll see if the main event segment can save it. Adam, because here we go. NWO time once again. Remember, they've been saying that, announcers have been saying that NWO have been telling the Pipers here. They don't not believe that, but Hogan is out here alone. It says that Piper sends him a letter, and it says that he is the real icon. Oh, boy. Well, then Piper's music hits, and oh, boy, wait, what? Nope. It is Eric Bischoff cosplaying as Piper. He's continues to cut the promo on fake Piper, on real Piper with the fake Piper in the ring. He calls for ref and he says that let's do the match right now. So Nick Patrick runs in. Bischoff lays down for him and Hogan just steps on him for the 1, 2, 3. At that moment, though, Piper's music hits again, and oh God, here it comes. An entire bagpipe marching band comes out. Piper comes out right through them. Hogan and Piper want to start a fight, but the NWO runs in, and it's like 20-on-1. They start beating the shit out of each other. We see Sting in the rafters watching on. Eventually, like 40 security guards jump into the ring and are able to separate Piper and Hogan. But there you go. Final segment leading into the main event of Starrcade.
There you go, indeed. I didn't really buy the whole Bischoff dressed as Piper thing too great because, like, it's just Bischoff in a kilt. It's not
I liked it. He tried to do the Piper accent a little bit. He had a kilt. I mean, anytime Bischoff gets to be a complete asshole, it's enjoyable to me, and he was in it this week.
Yeah, I can see that. I just didn't think that this one worked as much. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm all down for Bischoff, like, pretending to be someone else. The wedding of Billy and Chuck is like legitimately in my top 5 favorite wrestling segments of all time. But like this one just wasn't doing it for me quite as well. Now the crowd is super hot for Piper and like people are into this matchup. It's just for me, it was like, yeah. But
Ooh, I
yeah,
thought the
you're right.
opposite. I really like this. I thought like this was a really great way to send this match home, you know?
All right, good. I'm glad you felt that way,
I mean,
Jeremy.
I wish they had skipped the Hogan segment earlier.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It
Like,
also would have made this much stronger.
yeah. Like, I guess you want to make people excited. Like, that might be the first time we've seen Hogan out in hour number 1, like, ever.
I mean, it gets confusing on like when they had to switch stuff around and what hour was facing what hour of the shows. So I don't remember exactly.
Right.
But yes, the placement on the show was a little odd to begin with, especially
Right.
when it's the go home show for what should be the biggest match, bigger show of the year.
All right. Well, what do you feel about Nitro overall then? Do you like it?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought there's a lot of strong matches. I thought that the show ended nicely. There's a lot of dips as well, but not enough to take away all the enjoyment from it.
Yeah, I liked it too, but more than anything, like if we were competing, if we were breaking the rules of Monday Night Pod here for a second and we were allowing Nitro's hour 1 and 2 to compete individually, like hour 1 is so much stronger. So much stronger.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, the matches fell apart.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Matches, the stories, the botches, the incorrect or the poorly communicated finish. Because like even Malenko Regal was a good match. It was like a compelling match and they were working their asses off. Regal was sweating like a fat kid chasing after an ice cream truck. And but like just because they didn't communicate what the finish was, it just sucked the air out of that arena. And I also thought it was funny I didn't mention it at the time, but we were talking about Fake Sting coming out. I don't even know if it was I didn't look into this. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't the same Fake Sting as last week because this Fake Sting was much more obviously a Fake Sting.
He looked really fat, but I don't think anyone else ever played Fake Sting other than NWO Sting. I don't know,
right? That's the only thing that's throwing me off here. And then just also structurally, it's a little strange that you would take 2 segments. You know, if you had just like, if you had index cards of your beats for what you were going to have for this episode. I'm not saying literally that you have index cards behind you, Jeremy. Come on, what are you looking at?
Saw something in my window.
If you have your index cards for your show and you're putting out the beats for them and you're putting your index cards on the wall and you have 2 segments back to back with the imposter of a face character, like trying to get some heat that way, like that's weird. That they're like just that they're right next to each other like that. You know, if Nitro wanted to hire me as a producer on that show, I would say, gentlemen, I like this idea that we're going with. I see where we're telling these stories. Let's take the Fake Sting that wanted, you know, no disrespect to Rick Steiner and Jeff Jarrett, who, you know, get pissed about getting bumped around the show, but like, you know what? Fuck this Glacier shit. Let's move that up to the start of hour 2. Get people really excited in hour 2 with some Sting curiosity there.
Right. I agree. My biggest thing, let me tell you the rating, and then I'll tell you my biggest issue with this whole thing.
Wait, but before you do that, because we usually do it, are we both in agreement then that Nitro is the winner of this night?
Yeah, Raw was terrible.
Just saying it.
I didn't think it was a question. That's why.
You know what? I just want to have it clearly defined for the podheads at home.
Right. Who's ever taking score for that, check it off for us. Nitro gets a 3.1 and Raw gets a 1.5. Both tremendous drops. And we can attribute that to the fact that this is around the holiday season, whatever. My question then is, Starrcade. So Eric Bischoff has said that he did not see Starrcade as the WrestleMania of WCW. He has gone on to say that, in fact, in his brain, Halloween Havoc was the bigger show. But in the lineage of WCW and NWA and Jim Crockett Promotions, Starrcade was the biggest show. So let's go with that assumption for now. Starrcade is the biggest show of the year. You have your biggest matchup of the years, Hot Rod and Hulk Hogan. I believe the idea is that it's the last Sunday in December was when the show is supposed to take place. When you see on the calendar that the biggest show of the year is going to take place, meaning that last Nitro, the go-home show for the biggest night of the year, is going to be during the holiday season, don't you not put the show there? the number 1 and 2 ratings for Raw every year are the go home show for WrestleMania and the post show for WrestleMania, because of all the anticipation you've built up for your biggest show of the year. You don't put that show on a night when you're not going to get the biggest audience. Why wouldn't you just do Starrcade last night?
That's fair. I think maybe because you want people to gift Starrcade.
Yes. I mean, that was traditionally the reason why shows back in the day for wrestling would happen on Thanksgiving, would happen on Christmas, would happen like the MSG show. I mean, still, they do an after Christmas MSG show every single year because the idea is, yes, you're gifted these things on Christmas. But I just think that like you're eating into it. I don't know, when it was Hanukkah, maybe you could have sold 1 million Hanukkah pay-per-view buys instead.
Maybe. Anything's possible, my friend. Well,
that's my rant.
Well, it's a well put rant. I too am upset at these December shows, but I'm glad that we were all able to live in that moment together right here on Monday Night Pod.
Yes, and we would love to know what you have to think, and there's some very easy ways for you to do that. If you're listening on podcast form, make sure to subscribe or follow. I don't know what the button is, but you could be on Spotify or Google, or I think we're on Amazon or something. Yeah, do all those things. If you are listening to Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a 5-star review and let us know who won this week's Monday Night Pod episode. You can tweet at us, Monday Night Pod. You can Facebook us, Monday Night Pod. I see a lot of people going to the Facebook page. I need to do a better job with that. Instagram, Monday Night Pod. You can email us at info@mondaynightpod.com. And if you're watching right here on YouTube, you can let us know in the comment section below who won this week's. And while you're there, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and you can send this video to all of your friends.
I think that's a winning strategy right there.
Any other final thoughts, Adam, before we say goodbye?
Ooh, so many final thoughts. But then if I have multiple final thoughts, then they're not final. And it's just the last one that I say that's final. Now my thought is about what is a final thought. Where does it even begin? Does it begin at the first thought? Didn't I already have my first thought? What was my first thought? Oh man, what was your first thought? Oh, we've gotten too deep into a hole here. How much time do we have left in this pod?
Bye, guys.